I'd like to introduce you, the great governor of the state of New Jersey, Christie.
All right. Now listen, I've been standing out over there. Listen to you folks. I came all the way from New Jersey. Is that as loud as you can get? Come on, let's go. Now listen, we're down to 44 days, and let me tell you what this election's all about. And now I'm seeing this, granted, I've seen this from half a country away, but my vision's pretty good about what's going on in this country and what needs to be done. And I think there are startling, disturbing similarities between the campaign being run by the President of the United States and the campaign being run by the governor of Missouri. Right? Now you heard the president just this past week say one of the most incredibly stupid things I've ever heard anybody say in public life. He was in Miami and the president said, "You can't change Washington, D.C. from the inside." Now, I went on TV later and I said, listen, I want to help the president. I really do. I want to help the president. So I want to remind him of something. Mr. President, you live at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. If the man who lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue can't change Washington, D.C. from the inside, then do me a favor. Get on a plane to Chicago and we'll go back where you belong. And you see, worse than that, listen, we all could agree, and even the president, like when he was laying in bed that night, was going, damn man, I shouldn't have said that. I know he was. You know he was too. He turned to Michelle and said, how the hell was I that stupid? I know all those guys out there are going to kill me on this now. I know they are. But see, once you get by how funny that statement is, what's underneath it is what's disturbing. You see, because what the president is saying when he says, I'm president and I can't change Washington from the inside, he's saying to you, it's not my fault. See, the president's saying it's John Boehner's fault. It's Eric Cantor's fault. It's Mitch McConnell's fault. It's the oil company's fault. It's the coal company's fault. It's Wall Street's fault. It's the big bank's fault. It's anybody's fault but mine. Yeah, let's not forget, it's always George W. Bush's fault. Never his fault. We can no longer afford to have somebody behind the desk in the Oval Office who is unwilling to be accountable for the decisions they make in leadership. So now let's turn to Governor Jay Nixon. Governor Jay Nixon, of course, nominated Barack Obama for President of the United States. Governor Jay Nixon is a buddy of the president's. Governor Jay Nixon's path here in Missouri is identical to the president's path. Fewer jobs in America today than when Barack Obama became president. Fewer jobs in Missouri today than before Jay Nixon became governor. They are the same. You vote for Jay Nixon, that's a vote for President Obama. That's not what Missourians want. You want Dave Spence as the next governor of Missouri. See, let me tell you, I want to help Governor Nixon the same way I'm helping the President of the United States. Now I want to explain something to Governor Nixon. I have the theme for his campaign. Get the new signs printed. Wherever you are out there, Governor Nixon, stop the presses. I got your new sign for the last 44 days of this campaign. Jay Nixon for governor. Are you going to believe me or your lying eyes? Because your eyes tell you that Missouri is 50th in job creation in America, but Jay Nixon says, momentum is moving in our direction. You know that Missourians are suffering, out of work, more on food stamps, more trying to do anything they can to hold their families together, to keep a roof over their heads, to keep food on the table. And Jay Nixon says Missouri's moving in the right direction. Now, this is the campaign of do you believe me or your lying eyes? See, the good thing about Dave Spence's campaign is Dave Spence didn't give you a choice. He says, believe your eyes. Believe what you see. And believe there can be a better day for Missouri tomorrow with strong leadership in Jefferson City. Because let me tell you something real simple from New Jersey. If we can do what we've done in New Jersey, if you put Dave Spence in the governor's chair in Jefferson City, you are going to see a dynamic comeback for Missouri and Missouri's families, because he can do it with a Republican legislature and leaders who believe in conservative values. I mean, let's face facts in New Jersey. In the 8 years before I became governor, the Democrats in charge of our state raised taxes and fees 115 times in 8 years. Now, I want to make you understand how desperate that is. That's a tax or fee increase from the state on the people of New Jersey every 25 days for 8 years. Every 25 days, government came into their pockets and took more money out for wasteful spending and big egos in Trenton, New Jersey. Now, I'd like to say that this was done by the Democrats because somehow they were affected by the full moon. That every time the full moon came up, that there was a gravitational pull for Democrats to raise taxes or fees in New Jersey. That would give us an excuse for why they would do something so stupid. But you know what? I can't do that because they raised taxes and fees more than every time we had a full moon in New Jersey. And you look at Jay Nixon's record here in Missouri, and you know that the same type of failed leadership's going on here. Someone who's unwilling to be held accountable. Someone who's trying to, in a re-election year, tell you a story that seems strangely unfamiliar to the people who have actually lived here. But here's the great news, everybody. And even in a place where you're 50th in job creation in America, there can be good news because this is America. And here's the good news. The people of Missouri are no different in their soul today than when Jay Nixon was elected. They're no difference in their spine today. There's no difference in their strength today. All you need is a leader to follow, and you've got one. It's Dave Spence for governor. When Dave Spence assumes the governorship next January, he is going to clear away the obstacles that are stopping Missouri from creating jobs. He's going to clear away the obstacles that are holding down Missouri families from having the opportunity for greatness. And let me tell you what this election is all about, everybody. When you get down to the core, what it's all about is Missouri is a great place, filled with great families that have a long history living in this state, building it into the great place that it is today. And I want you to know that if you return Jay Nixon to office, here's what likely will happen. Your children and your grandchildren will have to leave Missouri because they won't be able to find a good paying job here. They won't be able to afford to pay a mortgage here. They won't be able to afford to put food on the table here. And that's not only bad for Missouri it's awful for Missouri families. Because here's what you don't want to become. And here's what Jay Nixon is leading you to with his failed liberal Obama policies. This is what he's leading you to. He's leading to you all becoming airplane parents and grandparents. And you know what that means now, right? That for every one of those Little League baseball games and soccer tournaments, for every one of those Christmas concerts and spring plays, for every one of those birthday parties around the kitchen table, that right now, because you all live here in Missouri, you can get to and share together as a family. Now you're going to have to decide, can I afford the airline ticket to go to that Little League tournament? Can I afford the airline ticket to go to that Christmas concert? Can I afford the airline ticket to go to that little birthday party around the kitchen table? And the sad fact is, if you're still in Missouri, you're probably not going to be able to. And so we begin to tear families apart. And the fabric of Missouri becomes different. That's what the stakes are in this election. Because if you don't return economic growth to Missouri, if you don't put somebody in the governor's chair who knows how to get out of the way of the entrepreneurs and the innovators and the hard workers in Missouri to allow them once again to create new, better paying jobs for the people of this state, if you don't elect that person, you're going to be left with a centralized government out of Jefferson City, the way we have been saddled with the centralized bureaucratic government from Washington, D.C. that believes that it's better to have government bureaucrats in between you and your doctor running your health care. That's not what we want for Missouri. We want entrepreneurs rewarded, and ingenuity rewarded, and integrity rewarded, and hard work rewarded. We want Dave Spence to be able to do that for Missouri. 90,000 new private sector jobs in New Jersey since I've been governor, in a state that lost 117,000 private sector jobs just in the year 2009. And if you don't think that New Jerseyans don't know what you're going through here in Missouri, let me tell you this. 8 years of Democratic leadership before I became governor, there were more private sector jobs in New Jersey on January 1st, 2000 than there were on December 31st, 2009. A jobless decade in New Jersey. You just had 4 years of this. You send Jay Nixon back to the State House. Let me tell you what your future is going to look like. It's going to look like New Jersey looked in 2009. High unemployment, despair among the population, a dispirited group of citizens who felt like change couldn't happen for them, and they started leaving our state. I'll tell you how dispirited and depressed these folks in New Jersey were. They actually elected me to be governor of New Jersey. That's how desperate they were. They were desperate. Because you know everybody didn't vote for me based upon my charm and good looks. Right? They said, all right, this state is so god-awful right now that we need somebody who might just be stubborn enough and loud enough and tough enough to really force us to dig out of these problems that we've created for ourselves following liberal policies over the 8 years before I became governor. And despite the fact that John Corzine outspent me 3-1, despite the fact there's 700,000 more Democrats than Republicans in New Jersey, despite the fact that we hadn't elected a Republican in 12 years statewide, despite the fact that we hadn't elected and still haven't elected a Republican to the United States Senate since 1972. Despite all of that, in November of 2009, the people of New Jersey said, we want real change. We want a strong governor. They elected me, and guess what? Missouri right now, before 8 years of damage is done, has a chance to short-circuit that. And in 44 days, you can put a strong leader in the governor's chair. Give Dave Spence a chance. Remember something, this is no professional politician. This is not a guy who's been pining his whole life to be governor of Missouri. This is somebody who built a business, who put Missourians to work, who created success for so many people. And now, when he could relax and enjoy the fruits of those labors, he decides instead to take on the unions in the public sector. He decides to take on the trial lawyers and the people who have bought the Capitol in Jefferson City. He's decided to fight those special interests because he wants Missouri to give the opportunity to your children and grandchildren that was given to him here in Missouri. He wants your children and grandchildren to have the same opportunity for success that he's had. He wants the children and grandchildren of Missouri to build their lives and build their jobs and build their fortunes where he built his, which is here in Missouri. If you give him a chance to be your governor, you're giving a chance for your children and grandchildren. Well, let's end with this. Let's take Governor Nixon out of hiding, please. Okay? See, here's what Governor Nixon's trying to hide. He's trying to hide from all of you that he's a Democrat. Okay? Let's not play games here. Let's not engage in his make-believe. Let's not engage in the Alice in Wonderland world he's trying to create for all of you because he's up for re-election. This is an Obama Democrat in charge of Missouri. Now, if you all are content with an Obama Democrat to be in charge of Missouri, well, if you're doing that, then I'm not coming back. However, I'll make a deal with you. If we resolve here today together that no Obama Democrat belongs in charge of the state of Missouri, then in the next 44 days, I will come back here, and we're going to keep going, keep the fight up for Missouri's future. I'm going to take that as a yes. So, here's what's got to happen over the next 44 days. Now, all of you who are here today, I know, believe that Missouri can have a better future, and you believe that Dave Spence is the guy who can help to lead you there. But here's the disappointing news. All you in this room, just with your single vote and your single voice, is not going to make it happen. And still, the most powerful thing in American politics, it always has, and it always will be, more than a 30-second TV ad, more than a piece of mail in the mailbox, more than a charming and loving call from the governor of New Jersey. The most powerful thing in American politics is you. You open up that phone book of yours that you have at home and call in every one of your neighbors and relatives, every one of your friends and business colleagues, every one of your customers or clients. When you're at the football game on Friday nights or the soccer game on Saturday afternoon, when you're in the supermarket checkout line, or you're in the parking lot of church on Sunday, over the next 6 weeks, grabbing someone aside that you know, and say to them, I know Dave Spence. I've met him. I've looked him in the eye. I trust him. I need you to vote for him. I need you to believe in him the way I believe in him. See, because so many Missourians are working so hard, trying to make ends meet. They may not have the time that we have to have already thought about this election. They want to be responsible citizens. They want to vote in the right way, but they just haven't had time to study the issues. That's when they count on you as a leader to help guide them. They like you, they trust you, and they'll listen to you. But they can't listen to you if you don't speak. They can't hear you if you don't stand up and decide to be counted. See, democracy in our country has never been a spectator sport. It has always been for those who get into the arena and are willing to fight and battle, not just as candidates, like Dave and Susie and their family have stepped up to do. But as the people who are the army behind them, who will find the satisfaction in knowing that you have done something great for people that you will probably never meet and certainly never know. The majority of your fellow Missourians who will benefit from the hard work you put in over the next 44 days. So there's 6 weeks from Tuesday is the election. I want you to go home today. I want you to go home today and look at your calendars. Look at your calendars for the next 6 weeks and say, how much time each week am I willing to commit to get on the phone for Dave Spence? How much time each week am I willing to get in my car and go knock on doors for Dave Spence? How much time this week, next week, and the week after am I willing to go to a headquarters and get on phone banks for Dave Spence? If you just give him a couple of hours every week, if everybody in this room just gave him 2 hours every week for the next 6 weeks, on November 6th, you're going to elect the governor. As you probably can tell, I'm in a really good mood today. I'm feeling good. I've had a good weekend. I'm enjoying myself, and I've been treated really well out here in Missouri. Really well. And so when I'm that way, things go really well. However, you may have seen over the course of my career that there have been moments when we might say that my mood has been not quite as sunny as it is today. And usually, that bad mood comes from one of two things. Either my 12-year-old son, Patrick, who is the straw that stirs the drink in our family, and who can annoy me like no other human being on the face of the earth, or it comes from people in public life who disappoint me. People just like you. People who stand here and yell and cheer and scream for the things I say, and who I believe will become a part of my team to come and do the things that we all together believe in our hearts are the right things for our state and for our country. And then when they leave here, get amnesia. They forget that they promised, and you all did, to give Dave Spence 2 hours a week for the next 6 weeks. They forget that. And then what happens is Dave Spence calls me. And he says, Governor, remember all those people we had in Springfield? They're all cheering and clapping and smiling, wear those Spence shirts, the Spence stickers, the Spence signs. They're not giving me the 2 hours a week. And I say, Dave, I'm getting on a plane. And then when I come back here to Springfield, and you all gather in this room again, this is not the Chris Christie you're going to see. The Chris Christie you're going to see will be significantly different. And will be the kind of guy who says things that people in polite company in Missouri just don't say. And so, we want to avoid that. We do not want to subject the good people of Missouri and all these cameras back here who have to comply with FCC regulations to that type of conduct. And so let's make it easy on each other. It's a win-win, you see. See, you get me back here in October in a good mood. And you, on November 6th, get a new great governor for Missouri. So, if you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you. If you're willing to stand up and fight for Dave Spence with me, I will stand up with you and fight for Dave over the next 44 days. And if you are willing to sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed over the next 44 days to take Missouri out of the awful path that it's in and put it back on a path towards opportunity and success for every Missourian, then I am going to stand with you. We are going to fight together. And in January of 2013, we are going to see a bright new day when he puts his hand on the Bible, takes the oath of office as governor, and lights this state on fire. Thank you all very much.
Wow. How about that? Thank you all so much. And let's change our state together. Let's get Missouri back to work. God bless America.